What is DynamoDB and how does it compare to other NoSQL databases? I need to understand the key differences for my web application.
Hi all. So let's start learning about Amazon DynamoDB. Very important topic. So what is a DynamoDB? So traditionally we had the RDBMS relational databases, but now we also have non-relational databases, or we can also call them NoSQL databases. And Amazon DynamoDB is a NoSQL database. So what do we mean by NoSQL? So in SQL queries, we usually do joins and aggregation function, max, and all that. So there is no concept of joins in NoSQL databases. All the data that you need has to be present in a single row. But it also has other features which can be the counterpart for the relational databases. So if you had multiple tables like employee and the employee logins hour, then you may have separate table for the employee login hour and employee. But in DynamoDB, you can store the same data or the data for different tables in a single table. So all the data has to be present in a single table, and we'll see how we can do that. So moving on, uh, how to store database data in DynamoDB actually. So in NoSQL we had primary key. Here we also have primary key, but we call it a partition key. And let's see how that partition key actually works in the background. So we have our Amazon DynamoDB and we have created a table inside DynamoDB. So the data you store using partition key has to go in a single partition. So let's say you have a table in which you are trying to store movies, or let's say you have a table for storing your games, and each of the game has a special unique key. So what DynamoDB does is store that data into partitions. So you can assume partitions as if have you guys seen puzzles we used to do when we were children, and we had to join these different pieces together. So you can assume that each piece is a partition, and by connecting all the partitions we are making up the table. So DynamoDB has an algorithm which will try to find out where a particular element or the record should go. So let's say you insert a record for a game. So GTA 5 release year is 2013, and the rating is received is 5 out of 5. So when you try to insert this, it also has to have a unique ID. So let's say 1234 ABC. Okay, so let's say we want to insert this row in our DynamoDB table. So how we can do that actually? So it we will provide this to DynamoDB obviously, then it will go through this hashing algorithm, and hashing algorithm will look at this unique ID, and it will calculate an unique hash code which will define the partition it should go to. That's why DynamoDB reads are so fast. DynamoDB gives you a single digit response time for all the reads you have, and it can scale horizontally also. So for the RDBMS, it can also scale horizontally, but you can only do read from it. You won't be able to do write to it. But in case of NoSQL databases and DynamoDB, we can do read and write both for the horizontally scaled instances we have. So if you don't know what is horizontal scaling and vertical scaling, I would suggest you watch my other video on it, or try to Google it quickly and see what it is. um, okay, so now we understand how the hashing algorithm works, and it is the same algorithm we see on the map data structure. Map data structure also use hashing algorithm to calculate the memory address. So it's the same algorithm that we use here. So once this data is inserted here, it will calculate a hash code and it will decide that it has to go to partition 2. So now this data will move to partition 2. So as the data keeps coming, we will keep on inserting the data here. Now we come to another topic of sort key. So there are two ways you can define a primary key in Amazon DynamoDB. So the first is using the partition key, and then we have partition key plus sort key. So what is this sort key? So two ways to create a table using partition key only or partition key plus sort key. So let's say you want to insert another record in this, and the game is Red Dead Redemption 2. Then the year is let's say 2018. Then rating 5 out of 5. Then we would have a unique key. So when we insert this data, it again goes to the same partition, or it could go here. But what happens if we try to insert another row with the same partition key? So if it has, so let's say there is another site which is providing the rating for our GTA 5, and it says it's a rating of 4 out of 5. And when we insert this, it will, the hash algorithm will say it has to go to the same partition, and it will go to the same partition. Now what happens is you can define a sort key for this partition, and the data will be kept sorted using that sort key. So if we want to use the year of release as the sort key, then or the rating as the sort key, then this record would come down here and the 4 out of 5 will go above, since it's the smallest number. So you can keep data in your partition sorted this way, and this will allow you to have some records which will have the same partition key, but the sort key would be different. If you don't have this sort key concept, and if you try to insert this record, it will just override this, because it will see that this is the partition key which I have to update, and it will just update the record which was previously inserted. So this is it for this video. I'll see you in the next one, in which we will try to understand GSI, LSI. There is a lot to learn about DynamoDB. So I'll see you in the next one.